Okay, before I get into the watch list for Friday, I'm going to start off. The market's been pretty tough this week, and I've really had to work. Trading's almost been like cardio. Really had to work to make money every day this week. And I'll talk about that in just a second, show you the SPY and why it's been a little tricky. But I wanted to start off with just a little lesson on one of my favorite setups. And I actually did post this in chat. And I posted what I typed out today when it looked just like this. I typed Twitter, TWTR, getting shape into support. Okay? And what I mean by that is shape change. If you loosely connected the tops of these candles, these are 2-minute candles, with a line, okay, and you kind of look at the moving averages here, basically kind of act as a line. But if you were to draw a line connecting the tops of these candles, and then the pitch changes a little bit right here, and then it starts to get really fast to the downside. We call that shape change. The shape of the trajectory of the candles, in other words, is changing and getting fast, coupled with the spike in volume. Whenever you get something that's fallen really far on an intraday basis and then gets shape change, speeds up, and gets volume, usually the biggest volume of the day, couple that with into support on the daily chart, this is extended in the short term. You get a lot of people thinking, oh, it's breaking that 25 support, and they start shorting down here. You get a nasty snapback. Having said all that, just to be clear, I didn't take the trade, but I did alert this in chat that Twitter was getting shape into support, right? And look what it did. Ends up getting through the high of the day and being one of the strongest stocks of the day. Again, I didn't take it, but real quick, I wanted to share that with you. Okay, you've got shape change. It's come a long way down, and then let me show you on the daily, which, well, you can't really tell now, but this is the support I'm talking about. I mean, it doesn't look like it was falling into support because now it's a green candle that closed near its highs. But there you can see the very nice support it's had. 60-minute candles will show it pretty clearly. See that? So this 60-minute candle right here was what I was showing you using 2-minute candles, getting fast to the downside. Look at that beautiful bounce. So, that's something you can always use. I call it a shape into support play. Unfortunately, I didn't take it. I still had a decent day, but I had to fight for it. And I started off my day with a terrible trade at the open, and so had to not only battle back to get to even, but then battle to get to a nicely green day. So it's been a lot like work this week. Said I would talk about the SPY, so I'll do that, and then I'll go into the watch list. Here is why, if you've been trading and you're kind of a long-sided trader, and you could accuse me of that, and you would be right. I don't short very often at all. But anyway, looking at the last 2 days. Now remember, let's take the last 2 days out of it. How'd the market look? You had the Thanksgiving low-volume week. It was just pretty much sideways, tight range, started to break to the upside, right? So this looks really powerful. And there was no way of knowing that over the next 2 days it was going to fall like this. It's getting pretty close to the 50-day. Can't see the 50-day on my chart. I don't have it on there, but 203.96 is what I have looking at another chart for the 50-day. So you could round that up to 204. So this area, which also was support here, that's why I had these lines on my chart here, right? And then it broke down, then it became resistance for a while, and then it broke through. So the 204 area is interesting. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But, if you're a long-sided trader, you trade more long than short, and you've been struggling the last couple days, it's not you. It's that you've been battling, swimming against the tide. And a lot of the trades I've taken, are long. Matter of fact, I haven't shorted in the last 2 days. I have made my daily goal most days this week, but not without a lot of effort. Because I especially the last 2 days battling this, I kind of expect after this 2-day pretty good sized downfall, I kind of expect a bounce at the 50-day or somewhere around here, but doesn't have to happen tomorrow. Okay, so let's go into the watch list. ATV. Now, this is something I'm not that serious about, but I want to have it on watch. Okay, I don't know, like a few days ago, this was 53 cents. So this is just what you call a plumb stupid move all the way to 21 bucks. And it's all, and I fully expect this to be all the way back down here before this is all over. But a lot of times what happens is when sellers come in and it starts getting slammed down, shorts start to get cocky and they can get whipped out. And I'll show you KBIO as an example. Now, I'm not watching KBIO tomorrow, but, this is one that made this plumb stupid move, right? All the way up to 45. So then sellers come in and you think, okay, now anyone long up here, shorts are jumping all over this, and then look what happens. A couple days later, it's back up to 45. So this can happen, even though it shouldn't be there. Matter of fact, speaking of KBIO, closed at 29.32. I think it closed after hours at 37.51, so all the way back up here, just to show you how stupid these things can get. So because of that, I'm going to have ATV on Bounce Watch tomorrow. All right, that just means with a proper setup. Same thing with EFUT. Now we're down after the gap up one. If you count the first day where it closed red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days lower. That also goes on Bounce Watch. DHRM, same thing, big move here, 2 days lower on lower volume. Good setup for a bounce. VLTC was on Bounce Watch today, no trades, and it's just another red day. Just goes back on Bounce Watch tomorrow. It doesn't cost me anything to have these on charts, and sometimes we can get a really nice move. Recent high flyer, low float stocks in the right conditions can give you a really nice kind of secondary move. So I always try to keep them on watch for a couple weeks. AEZS, another example. Did a reverse split and got plumb stupid. Came back down, another little pop, and now we're 3 days lower. Pretty narrow range today, closed at 836. The range for the day was 885 and 808, so about 80 cents in range. So this is starting to get kind of tight. This one might bounce tomorrow. KMI, nothing bullish about this chart other than the fact that this is getting fast to the downside with the increasing volume. Just like I showed you on the intraday chart for Twitter, this also works for a daily chart. So you look at the slope of the selling, you got to bounce here, then look at the slope, and look at the slope change here, massive volume. This is what capitulation looks like. This absolutely goes on Bounce Watch for tomorrow. Remember, I'm not an investor, I'm a day trader, so I'm just trying to find stocks that might give me a nice trade tomorrow. I'm in cash every night. So that's KMI. CLDN, let me zoom in so you can see this a little better. A nice pop and reversed and then all the way back up and took out these highs, and now you're 3 days lower on declining volume. Pretty good setup for a possible bounce, especially if the market catches a bid. DDD, nice little sideways action here and was really strong most of today. Had great relative strength, and then the weakness in the afternoon, I think, just took this down. So this might go red to green and give a nice trade tomorrow. HART, closed about where it opened today. Back down, pierced the 8-day, retested. See this spike here? When it broke through this spike, it came down now on lower volume and kind of retested this breakout area. So a possible long in this one tomorrow, only with the proper setup. And I have to throw this STRP with a nice narrow range today on watch, because it makes such crazy moves like this one. And if I pan out, really nice move back here. So it stayed pretty tight today. This was the opening 5-minute candle right here. So this was yesterday afternoon spike. So a pretty narrow range. I think it's worth having on watch. And that's it. I'm going to leave it like that. Remember, a Friday rule, don't get yourself in a lot of trouble. Trade smaller, especially with the recent market weakness. Last thing you want to do is go into the weekend, pissed off at yourself for doing something stupid on a Friday. So I always kind of really try to be conservative on a Friday and make a few bucks, but I don't get stupid with my position size because I don't want to ruin my weekend, all right? Anyway, have a good night, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.